This cornerback class is phenomenal. There's a ton of talent in this class. We're going to go over like 20-some guys today that I've checked out, and then I can't wait to deep dive over the summer when it comes to this cornerback class. It's my favorite position to evaluate. And before we get in, what's crack-lacking? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So, I'm a little nasally. You probably heard it in yesterday's video. Hopefully I clear up. But shoot, let's dive in. I just want to talk about this class right now. And of course, we start with Jerick Steenley Jr. out of LSU. He is easily the top guy in this class. You're going to notice stars. Stars indicate that I consider these guys first-round talents. Dude, I know the year last year was not great. His sophomore year, it was just kind of filled with injury and just inconsistency from the rest of his team. But the dude's a ridiculous athlete. He ran a 4.3 40 in high school, I believe, with a 42-inch vert. He's got length, he's got size, he's got speed. Allowed a completion rate of 38.3 in 2019, and that was on 94 targets, man. They were throwing the dudes away, and I think that's when he was playing next to Greedy, too. The guy is legit. In 2020, that completion rate, it only bumped up to like 46.7, which is still pretty darn good, and that was over the course of 30 targets, though. And everyone's going to point out, man, well, what about his game versus Devontae Smith? All right, let's take a look at his game. Yeah, he got burnt on the touchdown. That's the only play people will show you. But on 5 targets, he ended up holding him to like 3 receptions for 44 yards, so he kept him under 50 yards. But he did allow the touchdown. He did have a pass breakup and another forced incompletion there. But, like, you're talking about Smith. This was during his Heisman season? Like, come on, man. 6 interceptions, 15 pass breakups in 2019. If he just comes out and has a good, nice, consistent year, then, yeah, dude's going to be a top 5, top 10 talent. Ahmad Gardner, the sauce, baby, out of Cincinnati. I'm a big fan of his. He is a little skinny. I want to get close to that 200-pound mark. Just put a little meat on them bones. But he has 6 interceptions, 14 pass breakups through 2 seasons. On 98 of his targets, he's allowed, guess how many touchdowns? Guess how many touchdowns? He ain't allowed no touchdowns. 0 with a 40.8 completion percentage. He is one of the best press man coverage corners in all of college football. I'm a big fan. And then Kaiir Elam out of Florida, one of the best press coverage guys. Great length, dude. Just great length. 5 interceptions, 12 pass breakups through 2 seasons. Only allowed a completion percentage of 42.9%. And let's go ahead. Let's take a gander at how he did against Devontae Smith. Because I know he had a bit of inconsistent play last year. But, I mean, last year was kind of a dog year for defenses in general, especially in the SEC. But versus Devontae Smith, let's use him as the measuring stick. 3 receptions, 23 yards. He essentially shut down Devontae Smith. Can't say the rest. Can't say so much for the rest of that Florida team. But he did his part. Trent Mcduffie, dude, deserves more love. He is an ideal zone corner. He only has 2 missed tackles over the course of his career. I love this kid's movement skills. And he's been just solid the last 2 years. Again, probably the top zone corner in this class. I'm a big fan. Emerson Jr. Not going to see a lot of people talking about him. I don't know why, man. But he was shut down in the SEC last season. He only allowed 33 receptions for 306 yards, 1 touchdown. That was on 59 targets. He ended the season with 12 pass breakups. I love the length. The dude's constantly contesting the catch point, only allowing a completion percentage of 55.9%. The dude is legit. And this is where things get tricky because these next guys, man, like they're close. They're close to being first. Some are close to being first rounders. They just kind of need some more consistency. And we're going to start with Sevyn Banks at Ohio State. He has the ideal speed and size and length. And he was actually pretty okay last season for Ohio State. It's just, man, like he got demolished by Alabama. He literally went into that game and it was just a car wreck. And he woke up like weeks later in the hospital like, oh, everything was such a blur. I remember Devontae Smith. Oh, Oh yeah, I allowed 2 touchdowns to him. That's to be expected. Dude was on a Heisman Trophy like campaign. That's to be. I got beat by Najee Harris. Ain't he a running back? No. Well, granted, he was one of the best receiving running backs last season in college football, but still, nonetheless, he allowed 11 receptions, and keep in mind this was on 11 targets for 133 yards and 3 touchdowns. It was a disaster. Now, that Ohio State system, it goes a long way. It typically translates well for prospects to the NFL. So if he could have a nice turnaround this season, kind of put that game just on the back burner, just put it behind him. Take it off the stove altogether and just chuck it in the trash. Because that's what it was. It was a trash performance. Then, yes, I think he could be up here. Josh Jobe, man, out of Alabama. A lot of people like this guy. He's going to see an increased role next year. Simply now, he is the #1 with Patrick Surtain gone. And much like all the other Alabama corners, he is like a press technician, press coverage just technician, great at the line. He is not Patrick Surtain. He is much closer to Trevon Diggs, and I might even consider Diggs a better prospect than him because Joe got real handsy, much like Diggs, but like 11 penalties last season, just ridiculous. He's allowed he allowed a 47.3 completion rate percentage last year, which ain't half bad. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it is being the #1. Storm Duck, man. First off, that's a first-round worthy name right there. But he might be the best corner in the ACC. Now that Darion Kendrick is someone we're going to talk about at the end of the video. I'll just say that. The dude allowed a completion rate of 48.3% with 2 interceptions, 9 touchdowns. That's through 2 seasons because his 2020 was cut short. He also, in 2019, kept Clemson in check. That was a very good Clemson squad at the time. I like his size. Could get close to that 200. He's only like 5 pounds away. But yeah, man, I'm a big fan. Noah Daniels, a guy that just needs to be healthy because he has shown a lot. This guy, he can power clean 400 pounds. The dude's stupid strong, especially in the lower body. Very explosive corner. It's just he has a very extensive injury history. He's suffered 3 injuries since joining TCU, since getting there. Like, it really sucks. He missed all of 2019 with an injury. He had the season cut short, both his freshman and his junior year, so it really sucks. He shut down Ohio State in 2018. That's kind of what put his name on the map. And he's only allowed a completion percentage of 42.9%. I really want to see a nice, healthy year for this cat because I think he's really talented. And then Taiwan Mullen out of Indiana. Unfortunately, I think he's going to end up being a slot corner only potentially. He's 5'10", 176. But he has been great on the boundary, and that's where a majority of his snaps came. 655 of them. He's played almost 200 snaps in the slot, but he's mainly playing on the boundary there. He's allowed a completion percentage of 45.7% through 2 seasons. He's one of the best run stuffing corners in the league, or in the country, which kind of leads you to believe, oh, okay, good. Sounds like a slot to me. But he's definitely probably, if you're going to consider him a slot only, he's the best slot prospect in this class. Very good, very good. Then let's get on to the next group of guys. Roger Mccreary, you're going to notice I missed a C. I got to get a new keyboard, man. When I go to double click a key, like if I go CC, sometimes it'll only register the C. So I think I need to get a new keyboard. So apologies on the grammatical errors. But great length, good athleticism. I think he's very explosive. 6 foot, 188. Last 2 seasons, he's allowed 56 receptions for 707 yards. This is on 98 targets. That's allowing a completion percentage of 57% in the SEC, which is still pretty darn good, with 4 interceptions and 15 pass breakups. He played the run very well. I think he's got a ton of potential, and just based on his athleticism, he's a guy to watch. Isaac Taylor Stewart. I know I was preaching about this guy last year, and then I don't know, man. The Trojans just didn't want to play my boy. He was very limited, but he did look particularly great. in the limited amount of time he played last season. He should take a bigger step with Elijah Griffin now in the NFL. Because I think the dude's an ideal press coverage corner. He's got great length, size, short area quickness is top notch. So I'm a big fan. Travius Hodges Tomlin at a TCU, dude. There's gonna be one more TCU guy on this list. TCU's got one heck of a secondary. He primarily played on the outside. He only has 6 snaps in the slot. I bring that up because he's 5'9", 177. I think he does a pretty darn good job of mirroring receivers. Relatively easy. He's very good despite his size. Contesting the catch point. He has 14 pass breakups through his career. His size is going to be a huge concern. It doesn't help that his missed tackle rate is 20.6%. You'd be like, well, it doesn't matter if the corner could cover. Who cares if he could tackle? Well, if you're going to make that guy a slot, it kind of matters a lot. Just going to say that. If you're going to play around the line of scrimmage, around the box, you kind of got to tackle. Yeah, it's just a thing. Tyreek Stevenson. He is a former 4-star recruit. He just transferred from Georgia. Great size and athleticism. He mainly played in the slot and it was kind of in a rotation role. He didn't see I think he saw maybe north of 500 snaps last season. So he's probably going to be playing on the outside there at Miami. I think that's mainly, which is kind of weird. I kind of assumed that he would have been moved to the outside because he's got great size, 6'2", 202 there at Georgia. I don't know why he specifically decided to transfer, but I'm glad he's staying with the Power 5 school. Michael Wright out of Oregon. Another guy, man. He needs to put on 10 pounds. He's 5'11", which, I don't know, man. If you ain't 6 foot in college, when they go to measure, you're probably going to be closer to 5'9". I kind of worry about that. But dude really does need to put on weight if he's going to stick to the outside, especially if he ends up being shorter than we anticipate. But over the last 2 seasons, he's allowed a completion percentage of 45.6% with 11 pass breakups. You love it. You love it. He allowed only 1 pass for 30-plus yards throughout his career. So a guy that, hey, man, I hope he measures out well because, he's been very productive there. Another dark horse for me here is Jerick Bernard Converse. I couldn't fit the Converse in, so you only see Bernard. But out of Oklahoma State, man, he will be the top corner next year for these cats. And he actually put up a really good year last year. Last season was his first season playing wide, playing on the boundary. His last 2 seasons, he was a starting slot. But he was very good. He only allowed a 42.5% completion rate, 7 pass breakups. And really, his worst games last year were actually not that bad. There was the Texas Tech game where the dude was just picked on. If you looked at that secondary there for Oklahoma State, there's a lot of good players in that secondary. So it's not surprising that he was the one that got targeted a ton. I think he was targeted 7 times. And then his other game, I guess you would consider it bad. Oklahoma, he allowed a touchdown, but he only allowed 1 reception for 9 yards. So it was in the red zone. It is what it is. He's a sleeper in this class. I love the size, 6'1", 205. And then, got Mr. Jones out of Clemson here. I really need to check out his teammate because I'm hearing Booth is probably actually a lot better than Jones, but I haven't got there yet. He's going to be one of my guys I look over the summer, so my apologies. But Jones has a very small sample size. Majority of his starts last year came on the outside. He allowed a completion rate of 44.4%, so that's pretty good. But he had a really rough outing against Ohio State. He allowed 3 receptions for 60 yards. Unfortunately, 2 of those receptions were for touchdowns. But he's going to be taking on a bigger role, so I'm on the lookout for him. I got TJ Carter, a guy I really liked last year. He was playing on the outside for Memphis. He is 5'11", 190. He kind of had a less than desirable year last year for Memphis after 2 banger seasons. It really sucked, dude. 2020 was a rough year for defenses in general, but he's a very good athlete and he's got some serious burners on him. He's probably going to end up moving to the slot just because the only other guy I think would play slot there would be Hodges Tomlinson, but he doesn't have many slot reps, while Carter does. Carter has played kind of everywhere there. Outside, he's played in the slot, so I think he's gonna end up playing slot. And it sucks. I don't think that's gonna really help his draft stock, but the step up in competition should. Marcus Jones, another really good slot corner in this class. He has almost 400 snaps in the slot. He's 5'8", 185. He has 5 interceptions, 17 pass breakups throughout his career, and he's an exceptionally solid tackler with only missing 6.4% of his attempted tackles. And then finishing off the top 20 here, and then we'll get into a couple other guys. Got Raleigh Texada. Hopefully I said that right, for Baylor. He's actually been a 3-year starter for Baylor. He's been pretty solid over that stretch. Not a lot of people are talking about this cat. I think his size might be tough. This is probably what hurts him. Size 5'10", 188. He might end up being shorter. Again, the smaller you're listed in college, typically the smaller you actually are. And he doesn't have very many slot snaps to his name, so he doesn't have experience in that area. But in coverage, he was more of a deterrent than an actual playmaker. And his roughest outing came against Dylan Stoner, who undrafted free agent. But he allowed 5 receptions for 114 yards and 2 touchdowns on 7 targets. Probably his worst outing, but he's been exceptionally solid for the last 3 seasons for Baylor. So look forward to seeing more of him, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm more interested to see how this guy weighs in. And then I got let's talk about Jalen Green, who's a transfer from Texas going to Mississippi State, likely to play on the outside. He kind of played more in the more as like a safety slot guy there at Texas. But he's got great size, 6'1", 197, probably going to be playing corner, or at least that's what I hear there at Mississippi State. So that ought to be very interesting. If he plays well, man, this guy could shoot up a lot of boards. And, I mean, he's going to be playing, like, next to Emerson, our boy Martin Emerson. So watch out. Chase Lucas out of Arizona State. He's probably a 7th-rounder, undrafted free agent. He's, at best, a special teams guy, I think. He's a 6-year senior with okay size, but that's about it. And then Darion Kendrick, let's talk about him for a little bit. Freaking Darion Kendrick, man. All right, so we all know about the arrest. That's gonna suck. But him leaving Clemson and then still not picking a team as of yet, in terms of where to transfer to, like, he has to play this year, man. I can't see any team taking a shot on him if he doesn't. Here, I'm just checking to be sure. He hasn't. No, we haven't heard anything from him. Like, I didn't include him on the list just because I don't know what to expect. He would probably been in that top 10, but again, man, there are those concerns with him. It sucks because I think he's exceptionally talented. I guess it is what it is, but that's it for the list. We'll be streaming tonight, so be sure you're there for that. Go ahead and do that YouTube thing, and until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.